Japanese and Korean not only have similar grammar, they have identical.
Are Japanese and Korean related? That's what this guy was arguing, and I'm gonna once again argue against that. I say once again because this video is actually indirectly responding to a video I made about Japanese not being related to any non-Japonic languages. I actually left a comment on his video and was engaging with him, but then all of a sudden my comments started disappearing. To start, I think it's important to establish who has the burden of proof in this situation. The default classification of any two languages is that we don't know if or how they're related. So English and Chinese, we don't know if they're related, and if they are, we don't know how. Hungarian and Swahili, we don't know if or how they're related. So for Japanese and Korean, that's the default hypothesis that needs to be refuted. It's not some anti-Japanese Korean conspiracy, it's just the default. In order to establish that two languages are genetically related, you need to establish that at one point in the past they were one language, because that's what linguists mean when they say languages are genetically related. So English is genetically related to German because about 2,000 years ago, English and German were just the same thing. This means that for each language, there need to be features that converge as you go back in time. It doesn't matter that they're similar now because we're not talking about now, we're talking about a supposed period in the past where they were one language. Basically, the only way to chronologically reverse languages to see if they converge in the past is to undo regular sound changes. This is because sound changes are systematic and for the most part irreversible. Changes in grammar or morphology cannot be reversed in the same way. And for that reason, sound correspondences are pretty much the only way to establish whether two languages are related. So to make the positive claim that Japanese and Korean are related, you need to establish these sound correspondences. And if you can't do that, it doesn't mean that they're not related, it just means we don't know if or how they're related. Most of the video I'm responding to is just talking about how crazy similar Japanese and Korean are and how there's nothing else like it in the world. And of course, I'm not going to understand that as somebody who doesn't speak Japanese or Korean. But it's not relevant to the question of whether they were one language in the past. The general consensus among linguists, including Japanese and Korean linguists, is that there's no systematic sound correspondences between Japanese and Korean. So if at some point they were one language, it was a long time ago, which kind of makes the fact that they're similar now irrelevant, because related languages with that much time depth between them never look similar. And if they stayed grammatically similar to each other because of contact, then you could use the exact same argument for just two unrelated languages, because language contact between unrelated languages often leads to convergence. If they really were one language thousands and thousands of years ago, then we need to explain why they were so conservative in every single feature except for the one that we need. It makes way more sense to me that they would have just converged grammatically through contact or coincidence. And coincidence might seem kind of like a cop-out, but there's only so many ways you can organize a sentence, especially with an agglutinating language, the most common type of language typologically. And if this contact was unique in some way, then that's awesome, let's study it. But it doesn't change the fact that the burden of proof is on you to establish that they were one language in the past, and there's really only one way to do that.